first, I just want to say how refreshing it is to see the bipartisan collegiality between you and that you're taking the time to go out and talk to people and educate people. I wonder if you'd say just a few very high-level things about what the proposed bill involves in terms of who appoints the commission, is it advisory, and then if you could also say a few things about what's on the other side of gerrymandering in terms of creating this willingness to compromise, creating this environment where the body politic can work together for the common good. I'd love to hear a little about that.
Well, you guys actually introduced the bill, so why don't you talk about what your vision was?
Well, it's basically to adopt what's done in Iowa, where a civil servant draws the map, doesn't consider politics, doesn't consider even the home of the incumbent, and then they take a map around Iowa, hold public hearings like this, where anybody can come and say, well, it's a good map, but this little thing doesn't make sense in our community. You shouldn't have it this way for not political reasons. And so they learn, a commission takes it around. Then it goes to the legislature, and they can either vote it up or down, but they can't change it. And see, you'll hear people who try to defend gerrymandering say, the Constitution says the legislature has to pass the reapportionment map. It's true. That's what they have to pass it. Doesn't say they have to write it or draw it. So that's the little trick you'll hear from people who are trying to defend this thing.
So there's a few different models out there. That's the Iowa model. There's also a proposed model that's being worked out in Ohio, where you'd have a commission appointed by both parties, right? And so you'd have different elected officials, governor and legislators, et cetera. And you might end up with a commission in there, and let's just say hypothetically it's 9 people, and it ends up 6 Republicans and 3 Democrats, right? Well, so if they're gonna pass a map and they only get 5 votes, it's still gonna be partisan, right? Well, they're actually writing into the rule that they have to get at least 2 votes from members of each of the commissioners from each party, right? And so that way you have to build consensus. You have to find a way to compromise. You have to build a consensus, then the legislature would have to pass that map without changes. So the idea is that you can come up with a mechanism, right? Well, where we're at the stage right now is we have to get the will. We need the political folks to have the will. What I will tell you, and I say this all the time, is at the end of the day, what we have to do is come out of the 2018 and 2020 elections with a split government. And if we don't have a split government and we have unitary control, then we're going to repeat the mistakes that we've made. Maybe it'll be a little bit better if we win the Supreme Court case. It'll be a little bit better. And I'm not arguing to you vote for a Democrat or vote for a Republican. I'm saying for this issue, we need to have split government because we have to force the parties to either have compromise or we have to throw it into the courts. The courts drew the map in 1981, 1991, and 2001, and by and large, we got pretty fair maps. The 2001 map became more unfair, but that was because of demographic change. It started pretty fair. So if we can get this thing into a process in the short term, and then maybe we can get that split government to say, okay, let's throw this thing to a commission, let's take it off of our hands, let's do the right thing, let's be patriots again, right?
And the second half of your question was, how do we get the compromise? I think that was the second thing you asked.
Right.
The more legislators.
It feels like that's a broken part.
It is, and this is part of the breaking. If you have legislators who represent competitive districts, now you can't really make a competitive district in Milwaukee or in Waukesha or Madison, but we now have 10 or less competitive districts. We can get to 25, 30. If you have a competitive district, you've got to listen to everyone. You've got to, in your district, you got to listen. If you're a Democrat, you got to listen to Republicans. I always had a Republican district when I was in the Senate. But if we keep this system, the system works absolutely against them working together.
So solving this is almost like the lever to, or flipping the switch to create the environment where you can govern. You
said it better than me.
Okay, thank you.